What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. This is your boy Amit, and today I'm going to show you how I made $2,600 with ChatGPT. Let's get started. All right, before we get into the numbers, and I'll give you the step-by-step breakdown on how much money I spent and how much I made, I want to walk you through how I made the money. So I created a local AI training workshop called GPT Growth Engine, and this is the website. So I built this website out. I'm going to walk you through all the tools, all the expenses, all the income, and even show you the slides that I presented, all of it, right? We're doing a behind the scenes look on how this went down. So for my first workshop, I did a full day workshop. It was from 9 a.m. to 2 or 3 p.m., something like that. And this was the agenda for the workshop. And then I added a few bells and whistles on this page. I did not have the testimonials because this was my first time doing it, but then I got testimonials. So I'm also going to show you how I captured the testimonials. And I sold the ticket for $97 or $147. I'll also show you how many people took the upsell. And then essentially this landing page was my go-to landing page to drive people to book for this in-person workshop. This was supposed to be just a test to see will people purchase this? And yes, they did. And I'll walk you through those results. Now, before we get into the results, let me walk you through the technology, the tech stack that I used for this entire venture. I'm sure you can use a different one, less tools, what have you, but let me walk you through what I did. So this website that you see right here is built on lovable.dev. I had my buddy help me out building it on Framer. It was taking too long. It was too complicated. Every single change needed to go through the web developer, and I just didn't have the patience. So I took things in my own hand, used Lovable, built the website. Now all these buttons are clickable. So if someone clicks this, it brings them down here. Same thing here. And then from here, they can choose which session they want to attend. So that's my next thing that I'm going to talk about. Now you can see here, I need to fix this because the next one is happening on July 17th, not June 22nd. So I'm going to fix that, but this is how I've done it. And then based on the session that they pick, whether it's the AM session or the PM session, it redirects them to my ThriveCart page. That's the second piece of technology. So build the landing page through Lovable. I already had my ThriveCart membership. So I had the lifetime license, and that's really why I went with it. If you don't have it, you can directly send them to Stripe. You don't even need a course platform or a checkout cart platform, right? You can use Stripe, send them directly to Stripe. It's going to be the exact same experience. Yeah, maybe you might not be able to customize the landing page or the checkout page as much, but if they have got to the landing page and clicked the button, they're most likely to buy. So this was my checkout page. And again, you can see this says morning session here because I clicked on the morning one. If I click on the afternoon session, the URL changes to the PM session, and then this also reflects the PM session. And then further down here, I have my upsell, which ThriveCart makes it really easy to add that upsell to cart. But the perceived value when the visitor is coming to my site is $97. And at that moment of purchase, I'm enticing them to upsell to that extra $50, which 50% of the attendees took. So there was a total of 20 odd attendees that bought this, and 50% of them took the upsell for that extra $50. Now let's get into the full tech stack. So I have shopping cart, which is ThriveCart that I already showed you. My landing page was through Lovable. Now on my landing page, you will see here at the bottom, we have something called live chat or help. This I want to point out led me to have not 2, I think 3 extra sales because someone sent me a message through this. And once I convinced them, messaging back and forth, I was able to answer all of their questions, and then they were able to purchase because I was able to answer the questions. So if I did not have this on my site, I would have lost 3 sales. Free chat tool using Neeto chat, definitely check it out. So that was my landing page. And then I mentioned here live chat. Ads were run only through Facebook ads, and that is what resulted into every single one of those sales. Then I created a slideshow through Canva. That was going to be my training material, right? This is 60-ish slides for that entire day, but this also included a lot of hands-on exercises using ChatGPT. So I created the content. I also used AI to draft some of that content. And then I used Canva to put it all together. And what's cool about Canva is I can easily embed videos. So if I go and look at this, here's a video. and I can play it right within Canva. So I don't need to leave this slideshow view. I can do it all within Canva, including embedding videos. So that was really cool. Did it all through Canva. Then my content outline and ad creative for my Facebook ads was all through ChatGPT. Let's head over to Facebook and I'll show you what that ad looks like. All right, so this was one of the top performing ads, and essentially it said GPT Growth Workshop, June 22nd, Frisco, Texas, and then my image with a background of that city. So people, when they see it, they can see the familiarity that it's happening in their city. And then it just says, join us for this event, grab your ticket. And what I'm realizing now, seeing this out loud, is if someone was just scrolling through this and looking at this image, there isn't much I have said on the image. So I'm going to fix that for the next one. But despite me not seeing much on the image, I still got clicks and I still got results and I still got people to show up for that workshop. Let's hop back into the numbers. So ad creative was through ChatGPT, content outline also ChatGPT, and then this was pretty cool. I did a bunch of QR codes, and if you go back to Canva, you'll see there are some QR codes throughout my presentation here. So first, before we even began the session, I wanted to do a Q&A submission. So that guides them to a QR code created in Switchy, which was a lifetime deal on AppSumo. And if they scan this, that takes them to a page which is on Question Scout. So it was a Q&A created on Question Scout. So that is how they were able to submit these questions. And then welcome and exit survey was also through Question Scout. So that was my tech stack for this workshop. Again, yours might vary, but that's how my tech stack worked. Now, before we get into how much money I made in hand, my total from ThriveCart, if you go log into ThriveCart, was $2,600. And you can see this was in May. That's when my first workshop had happened. Then I tried one in June, but I ended up going on vacation, so I had to cancel it. That's why I'm doing one in July now, but it's also summer vacation, so kids are home with parents, and we'll see if those results are similar to how I got in May. But this is my May results. Total gross revenue, $2,600. In hand, $2,412. Now, before I walk you through my expenses and how much I actually ended up getting in hand, let me walk you through some of the lessons learned from my first in-person workshop. Few things that I want to call out here is spend time on creative and studying your competition. This one, I did not do a good job of finding other local AI events in different areas, in different cities, in different countries, and trying to figure out what's working for them and taking some of that, whether it's their landing page copy or their ad copy. So I want to do that for my next one. Also do a mock run through of your slide deck. This is important because some of the feedback I got from the attendees was that the people in the last row were not able to see the slides clearly. Now, if I was to do a mock run with a projector, even if it's in my own home, I might have caught up on that. So keep in mind, if you're going to do something, whether it's live or in person or online, just do a mock run through. Then this one was super crucial. My laptop died in the middle of the presentation. It just refused to charge. And there's no coming back from a dead laptop. I couldn't even ask an attendee to grab their laptop. Luckily, I had brought a backup laptop just in case. And this has never happened to my laptop, and it just died and it never turned back on. But I had a backup laptop and I was able to quickly pivot, connect the new laptop, connect it to Wi-Fi, do all of that. So always have backup for whatever it is that you're doing, whether again it's a webinar, in-person workshop, have backup. And then finally, condense your event if possible. And this one is more pertainable to in-person events because my event was from 9 to 3 and I did a bunch of Q&As throughout the workshop, and I had left an hour towards the end for Q&A. But by 2 p.m., I had gone through my workshop, and that included about 45 minutes of lunch break, which I provided. And despite that, we were done by 2 p.m. and there was no Q&A. So technically, I could have skipped lunch. I could have ended at 12 o'clock, so done 9 to 12, and then done another one, 1 to 4. And I could have got 2 workshops instead of 1 because there was a seating capacity limit, right? Our limit was we could only accommodate 20 to 25 people. So that was the limit. And I could have doubled that if I did 2 workshops instead of 1. But this was my first one, so not bad for my first ever workshop. And now let's get into the financials. All right, you've already seen how much money I made. Now let's talk about ad spend. And I have this all broken down with my profit for that 1 days of work. And let's break it down by numbers, right? This was my gross revenue, $2,604. Total net revenue in hand, $2,412. Now I've spent about $1,500 in Facebook ad spend. So if you go back to my Facebook account, let's just go to campaigns. You can see this is my GPT Growth Engine page, and I spent about $1,500 for that campaign. And these two, the 199 and 133, they were for a previous one, so those don't count towards the one that I ran. So $1,500 in ad spend. And then my venue cost was high because I never negotiated the price with the hotel. So it was $500 for this conference room. I could have negotiated and got them down further. Lesson learned for next time. Another lesson learned for next time, do not offer lunch because that eats into your profit. And that's why I want to break it down into a 3-hour workshop, light snacks, maybe some muffins, maybe some coffee and some energy bars or something to keep that cost down. That could be maybe like $50, would provide food, provide water, coffee, light snacks, call it a day. People are there to learn, not to eat. And then they can break for lunch, and then I can get the second batch in. Now, this is the most important one, but this was, I think, a one-time expense, which is the total time spent on getting this stuff together. And that's my time to create the slideshow, to create the ads, to create the website, to do the creative, to negotiate with the hotel, to find the hotel, to find the conference room. And all of that was a one-time thing. And I say one-time because now I can keep tweaking it, but the base shell is ready, right? My website is ready. I've tweaked it a bunch, but overall the shell is ready. My content is ready. I've learned from the first one what I can spend more time on and what I don't need to spend too much time on. So all of that is ready, but that was still a one-time expense. So I would call this first one potentially not a profitable venture, because even though my profit here says $212, I have to consider my time, and my 80 hours is definitely way more than $212. But in the grand scheme of things, if this was to be a repeatable process, here's how it breaks down. So we can do 2 workshops a day. And if I do 2 workshops a day, I can do once a week, 2 workshops a day. And that's how I've broken this down. So 2 in a week, which is about $425 if we stick to the exact same numbers. I'm sure there'll be plus or minus a few. So $425 you can make in a week if you were to copy these exact numbers, even negotiate with the venue, right? So I did negotiate with the venue and I was able to get them down to $300. Now, what happens if we take that into consideration for the next one? So if it's $300, that means my profit goes up by 200 to 412. So instead of 212, I can do 412. If I go 412, this is how my numbers change. So if we go to $412 in hand profit for 1 day, then I can do this twice in a day and go to $824. Now, the twice in a day, the cost is still $300 for the venue. So there's a little give and take there, but let's round it up to maybe $750. And if it's $750 from one workshop, then you can do this for $3,000 in a month, $36,000 in a year that I've created out of thin air. This didn't exist. I bought the domain. All of this was brand new. Didn't exist. This was a hypothesis, an idea, and it has come to life. So that's the breakdown of the amounts. Those are my lessons learned. That's my technology used. And this is the full breakdown for my ChatGPT in-person workshop. And there you have it, folks. That is how you can make money with ChatGPT. This is one of the many ways people are making money using AI, using tools like ChatGPT. Costs you $20 a month. If you're not on the free plan, what are you waiting for? Get out there, make some money, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you get notified next time I release a video. Until next time, keep creating.